Shawn Michaels was out next to hype up the last time ever, but probably not, match in Australia between Triple H and The Undertaker. This was the best thing on the entire show. And I don't know what that says about this show here in 2018, almost 2019, that Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker are still out there having the best segment on the show, but such is life. Not a lot of good matches on this show. Usually Raw gives you that one really good long match. We had that a couple of weeks ago with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. There's always that one little diamond in the rough, if nothing else, that you can point to. We didn't even get that this week. But what we did get was a memorable segment with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, who made an unannounced appearance. Shawn made an announced appearance. Undertaker made an unannounced appearance. After Shawn came out to hype up this match, and he said that he was picking Triple H to win that match. Undertaker was triggered by this. Triggered Undertaker is actually very entertaining. He came out and said, the minute you picked Triple H, you made this personal. So it's a good thing Undertaker is not on Twitter. I know he's on Instagram, but I think if he was on Twitter, I could just picture the Undertaker on Twitter, like getting triggered by the trolls and having to like quote tweet reply them, and I think that actually would be kind of funny. But anyway, so he was triggered by Shawn Michaels picking Triple H to win their match in Australia, and he was actually sort of talking like a real human being for a change, even though he was in the dead man gear. He was talking like a real human being and not just grunting his way through this promo. He said he took the best that Shawn Michaels and Triple H had to give him, and he put them both down. And their egos cannot accept it. He said, you chose Triple H because I took away the one thing most important to you, your career. And Michaels refutes that and says, I'm one of the only men to actually live up to my word and stay retired after I lost. And I've done so out of respect not only for the fans, but I've done so out of respect for The Undertaker. And he claimed that he's turned down millions of dollars to come back for one more match, which I'm sure is absolutely true. I can definitely believe that. He went to walk away, and Undertaker said, is it respect or is it fear? And that was the money line. He says, if you ever did come out of retirement, you know that I'd be the one guy that you would logically come for. And if you did, I'd put you down, just like I did last time. Just like I'm going to put down your buddy Triple H in Australia. And Undertaker walked out. It was striking watching this segment with these two in the ring and just the way they command your attention. And everybody is standing. They're not... there were chants of one more match and stuff like that, but their attention was focused on what was going on in the ring with these two guys. It just was striking to me how much bigger they felt than everybody else on the current roster. And they should. They should, because Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, between the two of them, between their two careers in this company, probably have a good 50 or 60 years worth of exposure and television time. So yeah, they should feel like bigger stars, but this was above and beyond even that, and it just was very it was very striking to me. But I think there's just something about those stars from that period that when they come out, they just command your attention in a way that I wish more guys could tap into today. Because sometimes all it takes is that one guy, that one newish guy who doesn't have 20 or 30 years of television time under their belt, who just strikes a chord with the audience, like Austin did when he really got hot, or even Hogan, I guess, and to kind of make that connection with the crowd. And I'm not sure, I just, off the top of my head, I just can't think of anybody who really would fit that criteria. Braun Strowman kind of did, not really the same thing, but he kind of did. Now he's a heel, so I don't know, I don't know. But they are promoting a response from Triple H tomorrow night, and an appearance by Mick Foley to give us the Hell in a Cell shouting promo he gives us every couple of years. He's going to talk about the Hell in a Cell here 6 days before the pay-per-view and why it shaves years off your career. Don't do it. And then, they'll come into the ring and put Grandpa in the white coat and carry him off. But clearly somebody is worried about Monday Night Football. I know the NFL ratings have been in the shitter in the last year or two compared to where they were, but it's still the NFL. And so when they start trotting out Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and Triple H and Mick Foley, you know they're worried. But this has everybody asking, is Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement for one more match with The Undertaker? We have been teased far too many times in the last 8 years for me to believe that all of a sudden, Shawn Michaels is going to pull the trigger and actually come out of retirement. He has been working with those guys in NXT for a while now. You know, look, it's hard. I would have to imagine that it's hard to be around that and to be back there for some of those takeover shows and some of those great matches and great main events. And as good of a job as they do with storytelling on that show, and Shawn is intimately involved with that now, it's got to be hard to watch that and not get the itch to come back. You know, 5 years ago, Shawn Michaels was still living in Texas, away from it all. They would call him for the occasional cameo. And since then, he's moved his family to Florida. He is at the Performance Center. He's on the road for the NXT live events and the takeover shows. And he is involved in this every single day of his life. He still looks to be in good shape. If Undertaker wanted Shawn Michaels to be the one to end his career, if Shawn really is concerned about disrespecting, the Undertaker and not wanting to go back on his word the way Ric Flair did and others, if Undertaker came to him and said, look, this is what I want. I want you to come back for one more match. I want it to be you and me one last time at WrestleMania. And I want you to be the one to end my career the way that I did for you, and then the two of us can really sort of ride off into the sunset. If that's what he wanted, you know what? I'd be down for it. I'd be down for it. Those two had the best WrestleMania match of all time at WrestleMania 25. I had been crowing for years about that match ever since I reviewed it. I'll remember it like yesterday on episode 65 of the Sound Off that I did in 2009. It was a two-parter. Part one was my WrestleMania review, talking about Shawn and The Undertaker, and then that was part one. Part two was the rest of the podcast. I remember it like it was yesterday. The best match of Mania history. And their encore at WrestleMania 26 was pretty good too. I just don't think it matched the level of the 25 match, because a lot of it was a repeat of spots they did in 09 and stuff. But if they do this, they could set it up at the Australia show. Michaels, helps Triple H, gives him the assists. Triple H beats The Undertaker. Undertaker could be returning the favor for both of them. He's beaten both of them multiple times now at WrestleMania. Maybe this is his way of saying thank you. The two, biggest WWE names today would be Roman Reigns and John Cena. I mean, I would say even though Cena's barely around anymore, I'd still say Reigns and Cena are pretty much the two top dogs when I really think about the two biggest, mainstream names now in this company. And Undertaker has had WrestleMania matches with the both of them. He lost to Roman. He beat Cena. What's left? Who is left for him to face? Michaels can cost him the match next month. They could build to one final match between them at WrestleMania 35. If that is the plan, I'm okay with that. They sold me here. They sold me with this promo that it would not just be a match for the sake of doing a match. There could be a really good story behind this. So I'm down for it. But if they talk Shawn into coming back for a freaking tag team match, or if Shawn says, I want to have some fun, I want to come back and do a DX reunion with Triple H, that's all I want to do. If that's all he's going to do, no thank you. I wish he would stay retired. Now, if he wants to do a tag team match, and they can convince him to come back for a singles match, maybe at WrestleMania, to me that's an acceptable trade-off. Because there is actually one tag team match I'd like to see. Again, only if he were to commit to another singles match. There is one tag team match that I think would be a lot of fun. Someone pitched it in the mailbag this week, and I will reveal what that match is later on in this show. I won't give it away now. But it actually would make a lot of sense. Then again, after watching some of the things they did on Raw this past week, making sense is clearly a class they flunked out of in school. But I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, if you put me on the spot, 1 being the least likely and 10 being the most likely, do I really think that this time is different than all the other times and all the other rumors? Do I think Shawn Michaels is coming out of retirement? I would put the chances at a 3 out of 10. I still just can't buy into the idea that it's going to happen. It's just, whether it was with Daniel Bryan or other times where there have been rumors and teases of it, and it never happens, and it's been 8 years now, I just find it increasingly difficult to believe that he's going to finally come back. There's a lot of different ways they could do it. I've laid them out here, some of them, but I still would only put the chances of it happening at a 3.